Welcome to the MVP podcast, where we talk about anything NBA. I'm Sam Holcroft alongside Geigh Zollicoffer and Peyton Thompson. Before we begin, don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Momentum MVP, follow our Facebook page at MVP Momentum Podcast, and check us out on YouTube at MVP Momentum Podcast. Today we're going to do I believe it's the 5th edition of the NBA stock market game. We'll start off with some of the teams. So our top gainers, the Jazz made $11.78 a share. The Bulls, $9.75. Grizzlies, $7.98 with Jaws return. $6.25 for the Cavaliers, and $5.64 for the Bucks. They're still remaining on that top gainer spot. Other teams that gained money were the Heat, Nuggets, Celtics, Kings, Pacers, Thunder, Timberwolves, Blazers, Wizards, and Clippers. Teams that lost the most money were the Lakers, $11.45 a share. The Nets, $6.39. Rockets, $5.89. The Hornets, $5.51. And the Mavericks, $4.98. Other teams that lost money were the Suns, the 76ers, Pelicans, Knicks, Warriors, Hawks, Magic, Raptors, Spurs, and the Pistons, even though they got their first win, still lost money. Only 41 cents, though. In terms of us, Geigh gained the most money with $268.94, bringing his yearly gains to $1,622.31. I gained $160.03, putting my yearly gains to bringing his yearly loss to $600. So, before we start, before we ask Peyton what's going on, what about the Pistons? They finally get their first win. We're all like, oh yes, they're gonna make money, but they don't. They still lost money.
I mean, they were expected to win against the Jazz, I feel like, and then they ended up losing. So,
what they should have done was get blown out by the Celtics and then just beat the Raptors, and then they would have made money.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, a lot of crazy stuff. The Jazz gained almost $12 a share. The Lakers lost 11.5. Like, this was some big movers for this week. But the biggest things, Lakers lost 11.5. Nets 6.5. Rockets, Hornets, Mavericks all lost. And Peyton, biggest thing, you had stock in all those teams. That's what really kind of killed you this week. The biggest losers, you had stock in all of them. So it's hard to climb out of a hole when you have stuff like that going on, and especially the Lakers when you had, I think, 20 shares or 18. It was tough. So what's the adjustments we're going with, P?
You want me to start going for my sells and buys? Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah, go ahead. Or ideology, if you're going to have to shift in ideology, whatever's going on.
Tell us the mindset first, and then tell us what's going to happen from the mindset. Like, this is what's on your head.
The mindset is pretty much everything Sam just explained, so I'll just leave that there. And then I'm selling 15 of the Spurs because I think we all were a little bit strong on the Spurs coming out of the last week or the fourth stock market. So selling some of that off, while it doesn't plummet too much. And then Lakers, same thing. I think it just came on a little bit too strong there. So I'm not selling all my Lakers shares, but just a little bit, get some money back and invest in some other teams. With the Suns, I think investing 13 is a good idea. I think at some point this team's got to start hitting their stride a little bit. So, and I don't think their expected wins is going to be too much, different than what it's been throughout the season. If anything, it's plummeted because they've just been very inconsistent throughout the season. And then the Nets, I think, are a consistent team you can bet on throughout the season. May lose you money, maybe not, but I think it's a safe bet. So I put a few more shares into them, and then I had a little bit of leftover money, and I think the Thunder's a fine team to put it on because they're always competitive, and although they may not win all the games, they're not going to get blown out very often. And sometimes they're going to get blowouts themselves. So.
Yeah, my biggest thing with the Suns, and as you could tell, I sold 15 shares of the Suns. I just feel like, like we've been saying, they're supposed to be hitting their stride. But like we've been saying that for like a month now. Like, yeah, they haven't had Bradley Beal until I think recently, or he's coming back from an injury. I just don't understand why we just keep thinking the Suns are going to turn this around. Like, slightly above 500 team all season. I mean, they've only played I think like 3 or 4 games with their big three playing together, but I don't know. I had high expectations for the Suns the last 2 weeks, and they ended up losing money. So I don't know about the Suns.
Bradley Beal's coming back, so that might help. So like it might actually. I mean, where it's at right now, you're betting that the Suns can go above 500. For the next like few games. So I mean, it might happen. So
So Gage, you want to go into your sells and buys?
yeah, I gave up on the Spurs.
All
No,
100 that you bought 2 weeks ago?
Yeah. I realized that they'll actually only have 2 more wins than the Pistons, but yet the Pistons are getting all the hate. So they're just historically as bad. They gave it up. I'm giving up on the Pacers too. It's just I think they kind of capped out. I think they're capping out at 0.558. Their schedule only gets more difficult, and I'm just not about it. The Jazz, I just made my money off the Jazz. We all know what the Jazz is about. I made my money, and I'm very happy. But I'm gonna go ahead and just take the deal and bounce. The Hornets, they went 0-6. Is that what I see? 0-6.
The Hornets went 0-6. Yes, you are correct.
Yeah, that was more of a discipline move, There was no finance. It was just me, just not, I can't.
And you've
have
had
my
him since I
teams.
think like the first update.
Yeah.
Like you. I've always like, do you want to sell the Hornets? And you're like, nah, we'll keep them. It's like, okay.
Yeah. 0-6. I just eventually you just gotta draw a line, You just 0-6. That's probably a huge loss, isn't it? Yeah. 0-6, 5-50. Oh my gosh.
$5.50 a share. You had 10 shares of that, so that's $55.
55. Yeah. Yeah, they're done for. And then the Lakers, they're just so inconsistent right now, and their stock price is way too high for me to be playing around with them. So I'm just gonna chill out for a bit. It's just way too high. I mean, the Bucks are extremely high too. It's scary as well, but the Lakers, for a team the Bucks are a little bit more consistent, just not with the Lakers.
Yeah, and then what about teams that you bought?
The Cavaliers, I think they're about to hit a surge, in their games. I think they're easily gonna go above 500. They're hitting an easy stretch. So this is probably the time to buy in. I don't see any reason why not to buy into these guys. Do you guys care to hear their schedule?
Sure, go
Sure.
ahead.
Okay. So, what was it? So they're gonna play. Well, I guess they're playing the Raptors as we speak, so that counts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Then they play the Wizards. Then they play the Spurs. Then they play the Nets. Then they play the Bulls. And that's it. And they needed to go about 500. That's easy money. Now, there might be a hidden person here somewhere, but I was just looking at the Cavaliers. Their stock price for 500, they're gonna go 500. They're out of all those teams up there, I am more confident that they're gonna go 500. The Mavericks have a similar easy schedule, but the Mavericks are just a little bit higher, and I'm not too certain. I might lose money on the Mavericks. But it's worth a shot with Kyrie Irving possibly coming back here soon. So I had to kind of get with them. The Grizzlies, I think, with Ja Morant, it's still a little scary to bet on the Grizzlies, but I think Ja Morant helps them out just that much that they can go above 500, even if they do have a kind of a more of a tougher schedule coming up. So I had to put some more on the Grizzlies because you gotta hit that and just gotta hit like you gotta take advantage of that while they're below 500 because they're not gonna be there for long. The Bucks have I think the Bucks are getting close to what their peak is. And the crazy thing about the Bucks is that they're worth so much that the percentages is the higher you go in the higher stocks, the more volatile things are gonna get. The Bucks, it's a home run or you're gonna die. And that used to be kind of the Lakers. Well, that is the Lakers. They lost $11. So I'm gonna swing one more time with the Bucks. Maybe next week I'm just gonna bounce because that expected win percentage is gonna go higher and higher and higher. And do we really believe that the Bucks are a 0.7 like win percentage team on a bi-weekly basis? That's a little scary. So I'll put a little bit more on the Bucks. I'll monitor them, and then lastly the Hawks. Honestly, I think the Hawks are a 500 team, and so might as well. I had the extra money, so I just went ahead and threw it at them. So yeah, I think I'll make a lot of money.
Yeah. So I kind of went similar with a lot of your sells too, because we bought a very similar last week too. But I've sold 29 of my Spurs shares, leaving 50. I still have a decent confidence that in the next 6 games that they play, they can win 2, even though they've only won 5 all season. And if they do, I expect them to make $1 or 2 a share. So I feel like that could be something. And if they end up only winning 1 game, guess what? I'm only going to lose like maybe $25. So like it's not that big of a risk. I'm selling 15 of the Suns for the same kind of reasoning that I said earlier when talking about Payton's buy of the Suns. I'm also selling my 10 Pacers. I just don't like their schedule that they have coming up. And I think we've kind of, after that in-season tournament championship, I think we've kind of seen them maybe hit their peak. They still kind of have to, I feel like, bounce back, considering I think the last 2 updates they have lost money. If I'm correct. I guess they slightly gained this last week. And then I sold 10 Lakers shares. The Lakers are starting to kind of finally be exposed to that mediocre team that a lot of people kind of thought. With Darvin Ham, making some very kind of like very bad kind of coaching. I don't want to say like calls, but it's just he's playing a huge part into the Lakers losing some of these games down the stretch. I mean, they are a loss away from being a 500 team with their expected win percentage even below that when they should be winning more games.
Here's a crazy stat, which I'm not sure if you guys are ready for, because this might spark up a whole can of worms. You know, the Lakers are only at a 3-game like improvement from last year from the Russell Westbrook team. They're only a 3-game improvement as of right now.
I don't think that surprises me too much. I mean, it's
With Russell
encouraging, but
it's not encouraging. That's terrible. That's a 3-game improvement. All these offseason moves.
but we
Plus,
already
you have-
here's the thing. Here's the thing. This is what Sam has been saying this whole time, and I've kind of been saying as well. Like, the offseason moves weren't that crazy, so it's really not that surprising to me.
But it's surprising that a team that went to the Western Conference Finals is only 3 games better than the Russell Westbrook team. There has to be a reason for that. And you have everyone.
They got lucky.
They didn't get lucky. They have LeBron James and Anthony Davis.
That's the reason.
That's the reason. And
LeBron James and AD.
LeBron and AD have been playing wildly better than they were last year. And it's only amounted to 3+ games.
LeBron's been playing wildly better than last year.
His 3-point percentage is like it's been improved by at least what's the percentage? But he's shooting much better 3-pointers than last year. It's just kind of night and day. I think Anthony Davis is shooting a little bit better too.
I think, yeah, Anthony Davis being healthy and playing, that's the one thing that I'd be like, oh, okay, like, if he's playing and we're not that much better, like, that's a problem. But as far as the offseason moves, like, they never really did too much for me. I mean, I think they re-signed some guys, but I think Austin Reeves isn't really the guy they thought he was going to be. I think he's regressed a little bit, or maybe he peaked out last year. Christian Wood. I mean, we all knew who Christian Wood was. Rui Hachimura's been hurt, and when he's played, he hasn't been the greatest. Same with Jared Vanderbilt. I mean, D'Lo's fine, but D'Lo is what he is. Like, they didn't make any splash moves to me to be like, wow, like this team is not that much better.
But even though LeBron and Anthony Davis are playing much better than last year, they're still only +3, and Austin Reeves is on a friendly contract. He's on a friendly contract.
Yeah,
and
no
he's been shown
disagreement
to go off
about
the
that.
bench. So
The contract's
it's
good.
just
That doesn't mean he's made a huge improvement,
no. This is what you expect from Austin Reeves. You don't expect a lot, but LeBron is shooting at a 40% clip from 3. Anthony Davis is doing well. Anthony Davis has missed only 2 games.
Yeah, that's big.
And
That's for sure big.
so that's why Darvin Ham is on the hot seat. We will see what happens. Because this can be a good defensive team, without D'Angelo Russell. I think D'Angelo Russell just gets moved. Just because
I think so too.
D'Angelo Russell's a good player, but he just doesn't fit the culture of the defensive team they're trying to be. And neither does Darvin Ham.
Yeah, I agree. Go ahead with your buy, Sam.
Yeah, my buys. I had 18 shares in both the Bulls and the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies have been looking really good. I think only losing 1 or 2 games since Jaw's been coming back. And then the Bulls, they were the second most gainer this last week. And I think it's finally time to maybe buy some Bulls. They're on a little hot streak. The expected win percentage is only 42%. So all they have to do, I think, is win 3 out of their 7 games. I feel like they have a very favorable schedule for that. I think that that's a good way for me to gain some money. I'm only buying 6 more Jazz. They were the top gainer. I'm not just going to take my money and go like Gage. I think that this team, they only have to win, I think, 2 out of their 6 games to make money again. Low expected win percentage, and they're getting closer to 500 ish. And then the Pistons won, so I got to reward them by getting 2 shares.
You just gotta. I gotta.
You gotta. I mean, Payton, you wanna hop in? I got a spare Pistons share for you right here.
No,
Make that
I think
7 go to an 8.
I think now after this one win, I think they'll be better, but I don't think they're going to be too much better. I don't think we see another losing streak, but I think they're on pace to win about 11 games.
They're a single-digit stock. You see, like it goes 15, and then it goes to 6.
Yeah, 1550 to 653, and I'll pull up the stock timeline here, so you can see all this goofy stuff. You see the Pistons way down here, the Bucks up there. You see the Lakers go from boom all the way down here to 4th. Teams just fluctuating all over the place here.
The Bucks are about to pop.
Yeah. The moment they have a bad 2 weeks, that stock is dropping $25.
Yeah.
And I was talking to you off air, Gage. The moment that's done, I might keep just 5 shares of the Bucks, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
This might be my last week. I'm playing with fire.
It's getting to the point where it's too risky. The same thing with the Celtics, because the Celtics keep having the best record in the NBA. So it's hard for them.
No,
let's look at the Celtics. They started off at 45. They went up to 46, went down to 43, went down to 40, went up to 41, went up to 42. So even though they're the best team in the league, that's what's really hurting them. And the same thing with the Timberwolves, because they've been up there. They kind of had a rough start, went from 30 to 24, went up to 26, up to 27, up to 28, went up 13 cents. So it's it's really hard when you're right there at the top, because if the Celtics have a bad week, then the Bucks might not even gain money. It might just be pennies.
Yeah.
If the Celtics have a bad week here, because then they're the top record. So, all right. So let's see. Any teams that we want to talk about that we're surprised that we do not have any shares coming in?
I think you guys are going to lose a lot of money in the Cavs. That's a lot of
the opportunity cost. Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not. mean, I've talked about this before. I'm not too sold on looking at team's schedule. I mean, I think it's a good indicator, but I don't think it's a great one because I think, any NBA game you can lose or win unless you're the Pistons. So I think like when they play the Spurs or they play the Bulls or what was another team? I think the Wizards. Wizards are kind of iffy too, I guess. That does help that they have those two teams in there, but like the Bulls have been playing well. What was the other team you said? Was it Nets?
That was the top loser. Yeah.
No, that was on the cap schedule. I don't remember.
It
Oh,
was the Nets, the Spurs, the Wizards, and the Bulls.
Yeah, yeah. So I think the Nets and Bulls you could potentially split maybe, and the other two I feel like you never know. Like the Spurs could sneak in and win on a night that Donovan Mitchell doesn't play, or something like that. So I mean, I think it would be smart to put in a little bit of shares in the Cavaliers, but I think 41 might be doing it, overdoing it just a little bit. And I think, maybe the Suns I'm overdoing it a little bit as well, but I think that, like you said, Sam, like we've been saying it all year, the Suns have to hit their stride, and why do we keep saying that? I think we're saying that because they have the talent to do it. Like they have everything that goes into being a good regular season team, but they really just haven't done it yet. And I don't know if it's because it's a chemistry thing or if it's because, like how they're playing or if it's a Vogel thing. But at some point they have to, or else they're going to be looking at the plan. And I don't think that's where this team wants to be come playoff time. So I'm just kind of holding out and waiting to see if that happens.
yeah. There's one team that Gage that I think you're going to be having your eye on here soon, and that's the Wizards, right? No, no, I'm not. I'm not opening that can of worms. I'm not opening that can of worms.
Maybe like the last one.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mm,
When all
Maybe.
the other
Here's what I
playoff teams start resting players and Jordan Poole just decides to average 25 and 5 through 2 weeks.
I'm
See
cool
it.
with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there any other teams that you guys wanted to bring up?
Why? Let's see. No, I think I'm really hyped about, I guess, the Mavericks and Grizzlies, and you guys. Peyton doesn't seem to care.
Yeah, I mean the
Grizzlies?
Mavericks. I'll respond to that real quick. The Mavericks, I can understand because I think that without Kyrie, they're a good team. With Kyrie, they're a really good team. And I think getting him will just impact that even more. I don't really personally believe that the Grizzlies are gonna get that much better. I think they're gonna have a good stretch here. They're gonna get back in the play-in run, but I don't think they're gonna be a team that just rattles off 15 wins. They're not gonna be the Clippers. I don't think they're gonna be the Clippers. I don't think they're all of a sudden gonna start clicking and get in the 5, 6 seed area or 4 seed area, and we're not gonna see it, or we're gonna see it coming. Like I don't think it's gonna be like that. And I would have to look at their schedule they've been playing recently with these wins they've recently gotten, but I'm just not really confident in that, sustaining. As far as their expected win percentage is going to go back up as well. And then I'm not sold that John Morant can stay healthy the whole season either. So that's why I'm not really into the Grizzlies. I wouldn't say I'm doubting the Grizzlies, but I'm not going to be investing in the Grizzlies either. I'm not going to take a chance on them.
Gotcha. So that 25% expected win percentage is just good enough to keep you at 5 shares for now.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Sounds fair.
That's a Black Friday deal to me.
As you're only buying 5.
Hey, I'm at 20. 20,
5's
20,
better than
and-
0, right?
Yeah.
That is true. Unless if they lose money. But
Yeah, he can spare it though. It's all good.
Yeah. I got money.
Yeah.
Can Payne actually lose all his money? He'd have to
In-
dump it all on the Pistons and then sell everything, dump it all on the Pistons,
No.
and they don't win a game, right?
He needs to invest it all in the Bucks, and then the Bucks have the worst 2 weeks. They don't win a single game, and then they lose like half their money, and then he has to keep it in there. It's like it's not going to happen twice in a row. But that's what would have to happen. But it slowly happened. But who knows? It's a long season, and it could happen to either one of us too. You never know.
Yeah. I mean, like this is the last week for me with the Bucks. I just can't. I can't do it. I can't
Okay,
do it. The Bucks are frauds.
I'm gonna. You say that every single stock market, but yet they have made the most. Oh my god. Okay, look at this. Let me pull something up. Okay, so we have
frauds.
Bucks are frauds. Yep. Okay, let me go.
You gotta
Bucks
be
are
careful with them.
frauds.
You got to be careful. Yes, they're frauds.
Okay, let me wait. Let me. Bucks are
What do you need to
frauds.
pull
Yeah.
up?
How many more things do I need to show you so you stop
Where-
saying that?
Show me the playoffs last year, and then I'll maybe.
Well, good thing that this has nothing to do with the playoffs
How did they do the year before that?
in the stock market.
No, like in their record. The year before that.
They're
The
the
year
one
before
seed.
that,
Yeah.
Oh, the
They're
the
one
year.
seed
they were
again.
3.
No, they were
I
like
mean,
a
they were
3 or
right
2
there.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah, they were a 3, but they were only 2 games behind. And then the year that they won the championship, they were a 3. So I don't know what you're trying to prove.
I don't know. I just I don't trust them.
All right, whatever you say.
I don't trust them anymore. For point.
0.7 win. I mean, that's not too bad.
Actually, go back to their winning percentage last year. I think they were actually points.
So they're at a 0.75 now,
Okay.
and last year they were a 0.70. So like literally their expected win percentage is their win percentage they had last year. Like is that too hard to ask for?
It's too hard to ask for.
It's actually, and it's also below that. I think this is what you're gonna string this along, and I'm gonna call this right now.
he's
You're gonna
just
string this
holding on
along
to
for
it.
like three updates until like you're just like, you know
He's
what?
finally right.
I'm finally gonna sell this. The stock's at 100. There's no way that they keep gaining, and then they're a top gainer again.
Honestly, it's a game of chicken between me and you, Sam. Because Peyton's not in this. It's a game of chicken between me and you.
Well, I'm not gonna sell until I'm proven that like they're gonna lose money. So, but once again, don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Momentum MVP. Follow our Facebook page at MVP Momentum Podcast, and check us out on YouTube at MVP Momentum Podcast. I've been Sam Holcroft.
Geigh Zollicoffer.
I'm Payton Thompson.
Thanks for listening.